Hello everyone, thank you for joining us here at Fat Robert Gaming today. We are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. This game has been fantastic. It came out about a week ago, Wednesday last week to be exact, so just under a week. And this is the online simulated version of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. It is fantastic. They have added many features that make this different to playing the game in real life, such as a different ban list, and also the fact that there's no siding. So it's actually a really different game. And we're also playing under OCG rules, so there's slight differences in small features, but not enough to make an impact. Now, for those who have played the game, you know exactly what you're after out of this. But for those who haven't, you might be wanting to build a Plat 1 deck. Plat 1 obviously being the highest rank you can get. It's kind of difficult if you've never played before, because there is going to be a point where you hit the best decks in what's known as the meta, which is what everyone's playing. And once you do, you need to start to know what these decks do. But there is a deck out there that is very cheap that you could use that could counter all these decks, and you could have a great time learning the game and also ranking up exponentially. And the best thing about it is the ultra rares you buy for this deck are actually going to be used in many decks you build, and if they get banned by any means, I am hoping that there will be a dust mechanism like Hearthstone, where if a card gets banned you get a full dust refund, because to me that makes sense. If they don't do that, it'll be really unfortunate, but I am quote unquote expecting it, so keep that in mind when I show you this list. So let's get right on into it. If you know me, you will know that I am a true Draco fan, and I have been playing this deck for about a week right now. I got to Plat 1 in under 24 hours, which was really nice. So this is the deck. You just play 7 monsters, a bunch of draw cards, and the spells and traps are reactive as well, so they all have different effects that will influence on your opponent's turn in your favor. And they also have grave effects, where the spells can pop a spell on the field when they go from field to graveyard, and the traps can pop a monster when they go from field to graveyard. So you'll notice that the ultra rares in this deck, we've got Upstart Goblin, Terraforming Chicken Game, TC Boos, and Solemn Strikes. So we've got 7 monsters in Maiden, Ignis, and Knight. Maiden, when your opponent activates anything, you get a monster. Ignis gets you a spell, and Dynamite Knight gets you a trap. You do that on your opponent's turn. Nice and easy. Keep generating advantage. Upstart Goblin at 3. This card is fantastic, and this is a card that you will play in just about every deck, because you draw 1 card, then your opponent gains 1,000 life. What does that mean? It means if you're playing 3 Upstart Goblins, you're playing a 37 card deck. That's why the card got hit to 1 in TCG, because everyone was playing 37 card decks. Terraforming, the only ultra that you actually have to craft for this deck, because you could play this without Upstart Goblins if you want to. If you want to play super budget, that's okay. Because you can see Into the Void is a super rare, so that saves you. Terraforming you will need. Terraforming, add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand, but again, this is an ultra rare that is very, very, very generic. You can use this in many decks, so this really is worth your time to craft. Because maybe you get sick of Draco, maybe you want to play an Alistair deck, Invocation. You'll need Terraforming to search Meltdown, and other various field spell related decks. Card of Demise is the best card in this deck, and it is at 1 in the TCG, and because we can play it at 3, we have a wonderful time. Draw until you have 3 cards in your hand, can't special summon, hand goes to the grave at the end of the turn. Set 4, Demise. Get 3 more cards. Refresh your hand. This card is going to generate your advantage. This is also the card that you can top deck that will just change the game, where you could just turn a losing situation upside down like that. Just win. Into the Void. If you have 3 or more cards in your hand, draw 1 card, and if you do during the end phase of your turn, discard your entire hand. Cheap Upstart. It's a super rare. It's a good card. It's been very beneficial to have in the deck. Another card that's at 1 in the TCG that is fantastic to have. So as you can see, I got draw 1, draw 3, add 1. So essentially these cards already are just thinners. Then we have the 2 Duality, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand. You can't special summon, same situation as Demise. You only play 2 instead of 3 because the sheer amount of draw we have. And then of course we have Chicken Game. This one's banned in the TCG, completely banned. You can't use this. So the player with the lowest life points takes no damage, and during the main phase, the turn player can pay 1,000 to activate one of these effects. Draw a card, destroy Chicken Game, or make their opponent gain 1,000 life. So that is bonkers because you're just going to activate this and then slap your diagram over it anyway, and your opponent's not going to get to it. And I've also had scenarios where my opponent couldn't pay the cost to destroy the card, and they actually couldn't kill me that turn, which has saved me. But you don't really want this card on your board at the end of the turn. That's why it's also good, because if you're stuck with it and you're summoning a monster with one of the spells, you could just pop the Chicken Game and carry on. Diagram, best field spell on the deck. All your True Draco and True King monsters have to be killed more than once by battle if they've been tribute summoned. They're all gaining 300 attack and defense, and once per turn you can pop a card either in your hand or field to search for a True King or True Draco card. Gets your hand exactly how you want it. Funny that this card's at 1 while the rest of these can run rampant at 3. Who knows? Anywho, Heritage, this is the only card I would play 3 of if I could, but I want to keep it at 40. This one is your Spellbook of Judgment. During the main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of True Draco or True King card types sent from field to grave this turn. So maximum 3, 1 for Spell, Trap, and Monster. Great card. You're generally going to at least get 1 to 2 off of it if you're going first. If you hit 3, you've opened the proverbial nuts, which is fantastic, so well done. I play Disciples at 3 and this one at 2 because Disciples lets me go into the long game. In this game, I have been versing Eldritch like crazy. This deck stomps Eldritch. The only problem is, it'll stomp it in 10 to 20 turns. You might be sitting there for 30 minutes to an hour unless you just absolutely blow them out of the water. Sometimes you just don't see it either. So the things that you're looking for here is your Apocalypse. So this is Daigusto. We're going to go into that Apocalypse in a moment. So we've got the draw from Spellbook Master, True Draco Heritage. You've got your Daigusto Emerald effect with Disciples. You shuffle 3 True Draco or True King cards in your graveyard into the deck, and you draw a card. This doesn't have to be all of them either. Your opponent might misplay and call by the grave a monster you're targeting, or DD Crow one of your targets. The other 2 will still shuffle in and you'll still draw. It's really, really good because people don't realize that technicality on this card at all. It's because of the wording, because you shuffle them into the deck. It doesn't say shuffle all of them into the deck the way something like Pot of Avarice might say. Then when you got your Solemn Strikes, I'm playing 2, I was playing 3. I had to squeeze space down because I minted the Chicken Games, so I cut a Strike, I cut a Heritage, and I cut Return down to 1. So Strike is also fantastic. It holds the position down. You just, whenever a monster will be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500, negate the summon or activation, and destroy. This card is great going second because you can just set it, and if your opponent tries to impact you on the next turn, you're flipping it on their best monster. Next we have the Monarch's Erupt. This is skill drain. This is why we don't play skill drain in the deck. If you control a tribute summon monster and you have no monsters in your extra deck, so you can see we have 0 down here. You flip this and it's skill drain, except your monsters are unaffected by it. So your monsters can still activate their effects, but your opponent's on-field effects will not resolve. Obviously they contribute for cost and still resolve, but their on-field effects won't resolve. This card will absolutely stomp Drytron and stomp Tri-Brigade, but if you're versing Eldritch, you want to tribute it, because it's not going to do anything against Eldritch. They're just summoning the big idiot from graveyard over and over again with 3,500 attack. This card will not do anything against Eldritch, so if you have to tribute over it, or use Diagram and you're stuck thinking, which card do I use, I don't have any Draco stuff, just get rid of the Erupt. It's not going to do anything. But against everything else, it is phenomenal. It's complete blowout. No one's playing back row removal, so it's just free when you flip it. Usually you win the game if you flip it. Again, Eldritch, different story. True King's Return. If this card, you can target 1 True Draco or True King monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. For the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters. This card is at 3 in this game. It was at 1 in the TCG. It's at 3 now in the TCG, and people are playing 3. It was a card that got hit because it's very, very good, yes. The reason why we wanted to play more of this though at the time in the TCG, is because Dynamite Knight, I believe, was banned at that point. It actually came back to 1 in the TCG. It either was banned or it won. I can't remember. It was 4 years ago. That's whatever. He's definitely at 1 now. But he was the only way you could see this card, so you wanted to max this card out. But now we've got 3, so we don't actually need the True King's Return. The best trap to search is actually the Apocalypse, because this one is really the most versatile. So the spells, as we said, when they're sent from field to grave for a tribute summon, that is when you can activate them to pop a spell or trap on field. Sometimes you'll pop your own to start a combo, like popping a trap so you can pop a monster. Sometimes your opponent has a spell that's really important to them that you might pop because you're doing this on their turn. Here's how we're going to do it. So these guys let you tribute on your opponent's turn, the Apocalypse and Return. So during your opponent's main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 True Draco or True King monster face up. You can only use each effect once per turn. So both these traps do that, which means they're reactive. They'll pop a card in your opponent's turn if you summon a monster, and then the monsters are going to react as well. So you can just kind of keep this chain of reaction going, which is nice. Apocalypse also halves everything's attack and defense that your opponent controls, which is quite nutty. Because what you do is you can actually activate that in the damage step, which is a very precise window in this game where you can't activate specific stuff. But once you activate Apocalypse and you start using these, and you start popping off with True Draco spell trap effects, this all occurs in the damage step, and it becomes really, really difficult for your opponent to negate it, because you can't really respond in the damage step unless you're using effects that directly alter attack and defense the way True Draco Apocalypse does. This card is really nice as well. So then we'll go to the final card, is there can be only one. If you want to play this deck on the budget, you do not need this card. If you want to get from, say, Plat 5 to Plat 1 very, very easily, you will play this card. This card kills Drytron and it kills Eldritch. Tri-Brigade can play around it because they've got Winged Beasts and Beast Warriors, and they can work around with different stuff. That's cool. Usually we do win that matchup anyway, because we bait Revolt, we get a monster effect, they'll pop Ignis, we'll draw 2 of Heritage and carry on with our day. But with TC Boom, this card turns off every Eldritch trap, because all the Eldritch traps requirement is to summon themselves, and they get their secondary effect if the Golden Idiot is out. So if they've got the Golden Idiot out, they can't summon their traps because their traps are zombies. So this card is really, really important for that matchup. So this is the full deck. Again, Ultras, Upstart Goblins, Terraformings, Chicken Games, all draw cards. That's 7 straight draw cards that make my deck 33 cards. If this deck gets banned and I play another field spell deck, those 7 are automatically in it. If it's not a field spell deck, it's 6. I won't play the Terraforming. Cool, but I'm glad I have it. Strike is one of the best traps in the game. It's the best Solemn in my opinion. It's the most relevant to the current gameplay, so that was an important one to have. And TC Boo, quite frankly, I'll openly admit, this is just a cheap way to rank up. This is absolutely just a cheap way to rank up, because you'll just get the pettiest wins. The TC Boo is a cheap win. Erupt is a cheap win. Flipping Strike at the right time is a cheap win. But you've got so much draw power in this deck, and it's absolutely just fantastic. I've had a wonderful time playing this. And if you verse Thunder Dragons, it's draw cards mainly. So you can actually get by not searching. All you have to do is sit around and wait for Erupt. That's what Thunder Dragon requires, as well as any deck with a big idiot. Like people are summoning the new Utopic Future, the Draco. You just sit and wait for Erupt. Not just that as well, the Apocalypse can halve it and it can't negate it, which is also nice. You just pop the idiot down to 1500. Yeah, happy days. So we're going to go straight into some ranked play with this, and let's see how we go. And please, if you enjoy this, please like, comment, subscribe. Do as you wish. Alright, we're going to go first. You always want to go first in this deck. Alright, game on. Hand's broken. Hand is broken. So we're going to try bait Ash with Duality. Okay, so he's turned off his settings. And this is something that's also important to note in this game, is that it's very clear when your opponent has no interaction at all. Their screen will glow red if the game's waiting for them to respond. But because it isn't, we know that they have nothing in their hand. It's a way to read your opponent, and the most important way to do it as well is you'll find that if you activate Max C, ooh, this is a bad hand. if you activate Max C, if your opponent has it, you'll be able to tell. I should have grabbed Ignis. I got greedy just then. Woo! That's alright, we can play through this. So we dump the hand here. I'm glad that I'm actually using this as an example. I haven't drawn too well here. I got my Demise play off. I should have grabbed a monster, but that's okay. I've grabbed the TC Boo because at least it means he probably won't play this turn. Come on, let's see what you're playing. Oh, he's playing Pendulum. Fantastic. Okay, so this thing sends itself to the graveyard. And he's adding 1 level 8 or lower Dragon Pendulum monster from deck to hand. Alright, this is great because what this means is he's got a couple of options here, right? So he's gonna probably get out Servant of Endymion at some point, activate 3 spells and try summon itself and Endymion out, and that's cool. But I can flip TC Boo on that because they're both spellcasters. Other than that, against Pendulum, it's really, really straightforward. This Solemn Strike card, you just flip it on the Pendulum summon. Absolutely nothing they can do here. Nothing. So he's activating Purple Poison. Hopefully he doesn't pop it and pop the strike. That would be bad. If he popped the strike with Purple Poison, I wouldn't be too happy. So he can do that. It just depends on what he has that pops. So he's got 2 of the most broken ones. Alright, he's going straight for the Pendulum Summon. Okay, so if you're summoning the Psyframe Driver, you know the hand ain't good as it is, but we're going to flip a Solemn Strike, and that's probably going to be the end of his turn. So yeah, look, we didn't draw a monster, but I'm going to show you how you can hold out here and continue to win in this situation. So he's going to activate Dark Worm's Affecting Grave, which is he can special summon it and search for his guy, and that's fine. We're going to let him do that. That's fine. No, we don't need to activate anything. It's just a search. So he's just going to grab Gate 0. That's not going to actually do anything. He's Pendulum summoned. He's probably going to swing me for 1800 here and pass for turn. Yep, that's what's going to happen. We'll cop the direct attack. I always leave my prompts on because I don't want to forget stuff. This deck can react to just about anything. And as you noticed just then, it asked me when the damage step was. Do I want to activate? That's when you do Apocalypse in any circumstance. Always in the damage step because his stuff can't react. Alright, so he's ended his turn. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys something cool now. This is how you generate draw power with this deck, with what I've got to deal with. So we're going to use Apocalypse to halve. Idiot over here. And I'm not going to activate TC Boo. This is a bit of a waste of resources. It's fine, we're just playing game ones. So you just go Disciples to pop Apocalypse. And then Apocalypse in Graveyard is going to pop the Dark Worm. And then it's fine if he ashes this because I've got another Solemn Strike, but I would much prefer him not to ash it. Just between you and me. We're not chaining, we draw 2 into the void. Nice, give us a monster. We haven't got anything to respond. That is nice. That is okay. So we're just going to do exactly what we did again last turn here. So here we're going to set up a nice big board. 27, 7 monsters in there. We're likely to see one on that math, which is nice. There it is, Dynamite Knight. We'll flip an Upstart Goblin. Let's draw some more cards, and away we go. Another Demise. We're going to set that for next turn. That's fine. But first things first, we now have enough meat to trigger our Disciples. So we're going to activate our Disciples, and we're going to shuffle 3 and draw. Yeah, this is why also you never don't just scoop because you think your hand isn't good, because you don't know what your opponent has. There's no reason to. You always should play it out. There's been so many games where I haven't scooped where I probably should have, but that I ended up winning, and it's honestly like it's crazy to think. Just hold your ground and you're good. So this guy's absolutely lost here because these 3 sets are exactly what he doesn't want to see, and I'm just going to pop his scales. So this one is, if it's a Strawberry Battle card effect, he can get a Pendulum Graph card. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tribute over this, and I want him to use that because I want to chain my Dynamite Knight. So this is also another really annoying thing about the Draco monsters, is when you pop the spells and traps, you can bait out their effects, and by baiting out their effects, you're inherently forcing the effects of your own monsters. So, he's going to do this. I've used the Disciples this turn. I'm an idiot. Disregard that. We're just going to punch him in the face here. That shouldn't do any damage because it's under Demise. So that's just absolute BM. We'll set the Demise and we'll pass. There's nothing he can do here. There's absolutely nothing he can do here. The only card he can out me here with is something like upon the idea of like a lightning storm, which he can't actually activate right now. Heartbeat's Feather Duster is the only card that could out this board right now that I can think of. MST? Nah. Twister's not even. Twister's not even because he has 3 problems here. Because even if he successfully Pendulum Summons, I've got Erupt, he's dealing under skill drain, you know? It doesn't actually matter. So we got 3 Demise this game. That's really nice. That's really, really nice. He's got 1 monster in ED and 3 in hand. He might just go for it and Pendulum Summon everything. That's cool, he got Dark Magician. Alright, so he's gonna get it for a Pendulum Summon. That's all good. Question is, what does he do with it? It really doesn't matter. Alright, so he summoned his Dark Worm, his Gate 0, his Earth Dragon, his Spellcaster, Fiend, and Dragon. Alright, we're just gonna Flip Strike. That actually plays around there can be because they're all different types, which is really good. But yeah, that's why we have to Flip Strike there. Dark Worm again. We have a fundamental issue here where I don't want to activate Knight because he has Driver Engraved, so I know he plays Gamma. I don't know what the last card is though, so I intend to not activate my Knight's effect because I need it. I need it on the board. Far more than I need it anywhere else. Far more than I need its effect. So he's going to activate the effect. And now that he controls a monster, I will use Knight and I will Chain Erupt after that, and that should be all she wrote. Banishing, he didn't use the effect, he's banishing. Ooh, he summoned Gaddis' prize card. Monster Zone if you do send cards. Okay, yeah, that's cost. The Half-Life is cost, so we are absolutely going to let him pay Half-Life. Absolutely. Can I respond to this? If I can't, this sucks. Yeah, I can respond to this. Okay, we're good, we're good. If I wanted to, I could have flipped There Can Be, but there we go. There's the Electromite, and now let's end his career. 1, 2, and 3. GG. Good night, sweet Pendulum player. Okay, and before end of main phase, he's entered battle. Okay, so he's going to attempt to use... Okay, no, he can't, because it's not a spellcaster, it's a psychic. Alright, he's ended his turn, so let's see what we can do here. So Disciples is live. No, Disciples is not live, but we drew Dragonic Diagrams, so it actually doesn't even matter. So so this is the point where the game is over. So we won't use that. We get the buff. We're gonna activate the effect. We're gonna pop Apocalypse. Oh, okay, that's annoying. I thought I was using the Grave effect. I've done this before. There we go, he's packed it up anyway. He packs up, we win. Good win. Very nice. So yeah, don't give up if your hand doesn't look too great, if you don't see a monster. Yes, there's only 7 monsters in the deck. It doesn't mean you're gonna see it straight away. We'll play another game here. And it means you'll get there eventually, and the traps you have are gonna hold your ground. They're gonna hold your ground until you get to that position. So we're going first again. This is nice. Oh, he's got a nice board. Now this hand isn't the best, but we have advantage in for two reasons here. We have 3 points of interaction with our opponent. Technically 4 if you account for Dynamite Knight itself using its effect. But what we're going to do here is we're going to tribute the Disciples, summon Dynamite Knight. We're going to set the Apocalypse so that this can normal summon Majesty Maiden on my opponent's turn. And Knight's going to grab Return as well, because when it grabs Return, Maiden's going to search me a monster when my opponent uses any effect, and I'll actually be able to get another pop. So that's really nice. This actually, like, that hand doesn't look great, but this works. Like, set 2 normal a monster. Like, this is Plat 1, guys. You can actually do this with this deck. And still cheese wins. Next minute he activates Drytron cards and ends my career. He's thinking about something. He's definitely thinking about something. Maybe it's his dinner? I don't know. Let's see how we go. Come on, Aki, what do you got for us? Oh, ha ha. Please be Salad. Please be Salad. Salad is the freest win for this deck. Search Debug. I'm daring you to search Debug. I'm daring you. You don't activate monster effects until they have a monster on board. You don't want to get gammed. And, okay. Oh, he sent Mining, so I can chain it. Okay, now I actually have to chain it. And if he gammers, it's fine. If he gammers, it is what it is. I've got Strike and Apocalypse set, but if he's going to droplet my big guy... Okay, he's... Wow. Wow. Plat 1, might I remind you. Plat 1. This is the kind of misplays you can expect up here. So honestly, yeah, I'm telling you, set 2 with a monster here, you actually can win with that. It doesn't look that great, but it's just about controlling your opponent. Come on, summon debug. Okay, so he's realized he's just messed up. He's just searching off mining. There's been a Code Talker deck I've versed a bunch as well. It busts out Transcode Talker, Upstate Jammer into access code so it can attack twice. It's really scary. Okay, yeah, it's salad, it's salad. We've got enough in our arsenal to deal with this, so we're good. Alright, so he's gonna normal Foxy, and he's attempting to use the effect to mill 3. Now, I'm gonna strike this, because that means, because this means that he can't use the Grave effect, because you can only use one Foxy effect per turn. So you'll see here, you can only use one Foxy effect per turn. Otherwise, this is this deck's only out to erupt, and there can be only one. Because you can discard a card, summon it back if there's a face-up spell trap on the field, which there is. There's the return. So now he's going to activate Gazelle. That's fine, and we're going to let him resolve it. We're going to let Gazelle resolve. But I'm going to summon Maiden now, because he's going to use Gazelle's effect, and I need to grab another monster. And this will resolve backwards as well, hopefully. So what will happen here is, you'll see, I tribute this, and then Gazelle will summon itself, and then in a separate chain, we can resolve return. So this will be on board once we attempt to resolve return. And hopefully, we can chain Majesty Maiden's effect to it, which would be really nice. Alright, there's the Gazelle. Now the chain's resolving, so he's going to use Gazelle's effect. I'm going to select this to pop. I'm not getting the option to use Maiden's effect, which is unfortunate, but we'll cop that, because he's going to send, and then he's going to attempt to use the effect of Gazelle, and he sends Spinny. Do you have to control a Salad to summon Spinny? Yeah, if you control a Salaman great monster other than Spinny, and it's in your graveyard, you can special summon. So he sets one, and he's probably going to pass it. Yeah, disregard Salad with this deck, because you flip TC Boo and Erupt and they actually can't do anything. They really can't. So we're just gonna punch here. I need this face up anyway for this trap. I'm just trying to get to react to shit, because I wanna get a monster off Maiden. I would love to get an Ignis right now. Absolutely love Ignis. Ignis would really get us in a nice position, because Ignis gets us to Disciples, which we're going to see, because the Apocalypse is going to pop the Heritage at some point, so that's fine. And if we get to Ignis, it means, and Maiden's resolving, it means I'm going to draw off Heritage. This could still happen. Let's see what he does. Alright, so we've still got our back and forth going here. So Foxy is, yeah, if there's a face-up spell trap on the field, that's the best one. And if he gets that back, he recurs Spinny. Gazelle's at 1, so that's just gone for now. We're in a good position here. We're actually in a good position, because Maiden and Knight have a nice combination of things where one searches the monster, one gets the trap, summon over the trap in your opponent's turn. Happy days. Let's see what he's got for us now, though. Let's see what we can do here. Then he's FF'd, yeah. Sometimes I know the writing on the wall. True Draco is the bane of existence for Salamangreat. They absolutely can't handle it. And yeah, okay, we're still plat 1. Didn't see any of those top tier duels, so we're gonna end it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I've got some match history stuff as well that I can share with everyone. I've had some great duels on this game. Some great duels. You'll see here. This is the longest duel I've had right here. 24 turns. I lost that one, unfortunately. There was also a 22 turn one here somewhere that I won. Longest game I've had has gone for an hour and 15 minutes. I know it sounds crazy, but you know, you can play some top tier Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, and it is really enjoyable. I really hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you have any adjustments you want to make, please PM me. I'm interested to talk about it. I love talking Draco Theory. It's my favorite deck, as boring as it seems. But it's going to cheese you all the way to the top of this game, and you're going to spend very little dust doing it, and the dust that you actually do spend is going to be on cards that you will carry on into the future into other decks, and if they get banned, hopefully you'll get a full dust refund on them anyway. I believe this is a really great way to play the game. This deck can be built for free, depending on your budget of Ultra Dust, so that's important to note. So you could try build it for free, and if you're getting there but you're just missing a couple of ultras and you want it and you're thinking about another couple of cards different, go for it. I'm open to discussion as well. I love to talk about this deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more Master.
Je m'adapte à ma vie, les coups dans le dos, les